Hello and welcome to News Central now on News Central TV. I am Adebola Adedwa. The top stories at this hour. Appeal Court overrules Federal High Court as lacking jurisdiction in Kano Emirates tussle. Nigeria receives $52.88 million allegedly embezzled by former Petroleum Minister Diziani Madueke from the U.S. We'll take a break shortly. When we return, it's time for the news. The top stories at this hour. Power outage as national grid collapses, restoration underway. National Assembly criticizes border closure policy, says it is ineffective in curbing crimes. Sudan Army enters key paramilitary held Al Jazeera state capital. Let's begin by telling you that the first major blackout of 2025 occurred today, Saturday 11th January, as the national grid suffered a significant collapse. Now, this marks the first grid collapse of the year, but the 13th in the past 13 months. According to the Nigerian System Operators Portal, the collapse occurred at 1:56 p.m. The grid's instability has been a recurring issue, with 12 consecutive collapses recorded in 2024 alone. The portal has since reported that restoration efforts are underway, with current generation standing at 302 megawatts as of 2:40 p.m. The cause of this latest failure has not yet been disclosed. The Independent National Electoral Commission has proposed a budget of 126 billion naira for its 2025 operations, citing the rising cost of conducting elections in Nigeria. Now, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, expressed concern that the approved 40 billion naira for 2024 would be inadequate to cover the Commission's activities for the upcoming year. Yakubu underscored the financial burden of organizing 21 by-elections nationwide, with 11 still pending. He stressed that the Commission's activities are highly capital-intensive, necessitating substantial funding. To ensure the efficient and timely execution of elections, he proposed the election funding be sourced directly from the Federation account. Meanwhile, the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters commended INEC for its effective management of the 2024 elections despite limited resources. The committee emphasized the importance of increased funding for 2025 to enhance the Commission's operation.
Honorable Bob, you touched on a very, very important issue. We need a big, major conversation in this country. Nigeria has no election season any longer. I said earlier that in Ghana, they conducted only 3 by-elections between one general election and another. In our own case, even before the midterm, vacancies have now occurred in 21 constituencies. But not only that, we also have 8 governorship elections conducted off-cycle. So the Commission is conducting elections virtually all year round. We have little time to recover our senses and begin to plan for the next election. For instance, in the election year 2023, we conducted 3 off-cycle governorship elections. The registered voters in some of the states is actually bigger than some of the countries in our sub-region. In Edo State, for instance, with 2.5 million registered voters, they have more voters than the Republic of Liberia. So a governorship election in Ondo is like Edo is like a governorship election in Liberia. The state with the smallest number of registered voters in Nigeria is Ekiti. Ekiti has more registered voters than the Republic of Gambia. And it has more registered voters than Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde put together. So conducting election in Nigeria is huge. Then we come to the issue of cost of conducting elections. I'm going to say 2 things briefly, because I will speak to this in greater detail when I present our proposals for 2025 on the conduct of elections. But I think the second thing to say is that these are fresh elections, the by-elections, the off-cycle governorship elections, involving the whole gamut of the processes, including conduct of party primaries.
And to unpack this, we're joined by political analyst Henry Olonimoyo. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. So let me kick off by asking what your thoughts are on the 126 billion naira budget proposed, of course, by INEC, by the INEC chairman for election.
Yes, thank you. Already over the years, we have seen that the cost of conducting elections in the country has been increasing year on year. For instance, in the 2023 election, over 300 billion was spent alone for the 2023 election. And it appears now that from what the INEC chairman is saying, he's saying that they have a very hectic tax on their hand in the sense that we are constantly conducting elections every year, either by elections, off-cycle elections of states and the rest. And that tells us, and then to look at the inflation now that has engulfed our economy, it makes a lot of sense that there's an increment. So I do not have a problem with the fact that they are asking for that amount of money. But I feel that going forward, we need to start looking at how we can cut wastages in our election process. And we can start from the number of ballot papers we print every year, every election. Most of those ballot papers are wasted. INEC prints for the entire number of voters that is registered. And in some cases, some of what we call our voters register is not clean. There are many people who are no longer under register. And I think we can cut that out. And other things like bringing electronic advancement into our voting process, it would do a lot to cut down the cost of conducting elections.
Well, when you say the need for us to cut down on certain aspects of conducting elections, like you referenced voters register and all the ballot boxes you made mention of, and now talking about technology, some persons think these ballot boxes are indeed needed, alongside technology in case technology fails in conducting election. So what do you think or say about that?
I agree with that. Now, what is costing us a lot of money is not basically ballot boxes. I'm sure a lot of money is being expended to print ballot papers. That's one. Number two, if you look at what happens with our collation of results, as it stands today, we are still doing level by level collation of results, manual collation of results. And there's a lot of manpower, staffing that needs to go into moving elections from polling units to ward headquarters, to local government headquarters, to state headquarters, which for me is very, very unnecessary. If we have a situation where results are sent directly to a server from polling unit level, it can cut a huge cost in logistics that INEC will spend at the various collation points. The staff that will be at those points, it will reduce. And I think we need to be looking into that. And hopefully one day look into a paperless election. It's possible. It's possible because we can't keep spending so much money printing colored ballot papers, many of which will not be used on the day of election. These are the things that are piling up cost. And I think if we start looking at that, we can significantly cut on the cost of conducting elections.
When you talk about the need for us to begin to look forward to what you call a paperless election, and talking about technology, do you think we as Nigerians or Nigeria is ready for such a level of technology in conducting election? Look at what we've seen regarding the use of IREV, technology being deployed. By the end of the day, it's not real-time technology. So do you think we're actually ready for such type of election?
Yeah, thank you. So you see, if there was a problem with IREV in the last presidential election, it's not because the technology has a problem. It clearly means that there have been the manner in which it was handled, the human interference worked against it. But again, if you look at all other aspects of our lives, look at the banking sector, a lot of technology is in place. Look at the way people pay with their cards on online stores, buy goods and the rest. Technology is moving in all of these areas. Why do we still need to stay behind when it comes to technology as regards election? And I do not believe the fact that we're not ready for anything. Nigerians are ready. The idea is we must have the political will and the forthrightness to do it properly, as it should be done. Now that I hope you're aware that INEC is also considering introducing diaspora voting. as part of amendments to the 2022 electoral law. And if we want to bring that in, I think it's about time we started going full electronic when it comes to our elections. That way we can start to significantly cut on the cost of conducting elections. And the way you need police officers to man all of the various manual population and you paying them the digital allowances, all of those things will be cut off. We will not need all those things because there will be no need for that, because results will be pushed from the polling unit directly to the server of INEC.
Well, indeed, we certainly look forward to such times. Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Henry Olonimoyo, many thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you.
Let's also tell you that the National Assembly's Joint Committee on Solid Minerals has rejected the Ministry of Solid Minerals 2025 budget proposal, describing it as grossly inadequate. The committee chairman, Senator Ekong Samson, voiced disappointment after the budget was presented by the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake. The ministry proposed 539.7 billion naira for capital expenditure and 2 billion naira for overhead costs, but was allocated only 9 billion naira. Senator Diket Blanc moved the motion to reject the budget, which was seconded by Senator Natasha Kpotu-Duanga. The committee stressed the strategic importance of the solid minerals sector in driving Nigeria's economic diversification. Alake disclosed that the ministry's 2024 budget implementation was essential for these. The National Assembly, through its Joint Committee on Industry, Trade and Investment, has criticized Nigeria's border closure policy, describing it as ineffective in addressing cross-border crimes such as banditry and smuggling. And during the 2025 budget defense session with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, lawmakers expressed frustration over persistent security and economic challenges stemming from the porous nature of Nigeria's border with Chad and Niger. They warned that the nation might be deceiving itself for the current approach. Chairman, Senate Committee on Industry, Francis Fadaunsi, argued that the border closure policy is counterproductive. He suggested that officially opening the borders could prove more beneficial than maintaining the illusion of a closure that fails to curb smuggling and insecurity effectively. Earlier, public affairs analyst Jide Ojo shared his thoughts.
I've mentioned one, that's technological innovations, drones, satellite dishes that could help you to monitor inflow and outflow of people, and then you can then profile them, see whether they are behaving in a suspicious manner, then you can flag them down, and that's Nigeria Immigration Service can flag them down. But more importantly, you need the buy-in of the border communities. Former Minister of Information did say that there was a time he visited one border community in Ogun State. The front of the Oba's Palace belongs to Nigeria. The backyard is Benin Republic. So how do you, it's just one building, the frontage is Nigeria, the backyard is Benin Republic. So you need the buy-in of the border communities to give you intelligence as to what is going on, whether there are smuggling activities, what are the illegal entry routes, and then how do you profile people that you see around. So you need intelligence gathering. And effective intelligence gathering will not happen if the border communities are continually neglected.
After the break, Lagos State Commissioner of Police holds press conference at Command Headquarters. Details shortly. Join us. Thank you for staying with us. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Lanre Shola, on Saturday held a press briefing at the Command Headquarters in Ikeja, Lagos. News Center's Bettina Nweli was there and now reports.
As the euphoria of the festivities fades, the Lagos State Police Command held a press briefing to update members of the press on events within the state during the period under review spanning September 2024 to date.
We have unlawful possession of firearms. So many human beings engaged in traffic or by information are apprehended with various grades of arms and ammunition, some under the guise that they are for gaming. I wouldn't know a man in possession of automatic pump-action rifle with 90 rounds of ammunition simply for the purpose of gaming, with 5 stunt guns that can disable a human being. 27th of October 2024 at about 14:00 hours, Lagos Island. Information has it that on top of a roof, there are bags of guns and ammunition, in which case we recovered 2 AK-47 rifles with breech number 52573 and 07003-853. Also, 1 K2 assault rifle with live ammunition. This was traced to one of the arms and ammunition looted from our armory at Ebutero police station during the EndSARS crisis.
The commissioner highlighted the unfortunate loss of some officers in the line of duty. He also presented suspects involved in various crimes alongside exhibits recovered during police operations.
In the period under review, I lost 3 policemen. On the 19th of October 2024, a distress call was received at Agege that a truck ran over an Okada driver. Policemen ran to the scene. Because the policemen prevented them from burning down the truck, they attacked my policemen. A police officer was plummeted to death by stones just in the course of sheer duty. Just 2 days ago, you see 4 young men blindfolded. We did that because investigation is still in place. They hired a Uber man inside this Toyota Camry. They apprehended him, stabbed him to death. It was a chaos that alerted our operatives. 2 of them first ran away. We were able to arrest 2. With the man in the pool of his blood, the man is late now.
Looking ahead to 2025, the Lagos State Police Command urges every citizen to act as a watchdog and remain vigilant, as the collective effort of all is crucial to maintaining a crime-free society. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
The wife of the Jigawa State Governor has called for more efforts to end cases of gender-based violence in Nigeria's northern region. And this was as she paid a visit to a 9-year-old victim who was raped and almost left for dead at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital in Kano State. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudo tells us more.
This is the emergency ward of the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital in Kano. A 9-year-old rape victim from Jigawa State, whose name will not be mentioned, is being treated at this facility as she was brought in a coma. The case, which went viral on social media, has attracted the attention of the Emir of Kano and the wife of the Jigawa State Governor, who visited the victim at the hospital.
Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum has emerged in order for us to provide a counter-attack on sexual and gender-based violence, especially during the increase in COVID-19 pandemic. So when I heard the story of Khadija, I have to come here myself. It was my responsibility to give her financial support, and apart from that, to give her a sense of belonging. For me to come here personally to see her, and Alhamdulillah, she is responding to treatment, and the Jigawa State government is taking all the financial support, everything on her medical bill. We are going to pay for it.
The chief medical director of the hospital, while confirming the case, says that the hospital is doing all it can to give the victim proper medical care.
This is something that usually takes many years, okay, to treat, okay, because not just the physical injury, there are other forms of injuries also that she will suffer. You know, emotional trauma is there, which will be quite serious. But in particular, she's admitted here in the emergency because of surgical problems she developed, okay, during that incident. And we hope she's going to be operated for it. And subsequently, she'll come back for other operation also, because it involves different parts, you know, of her private part, okay, which will need to be treated by various specialists, okay, and at various times.
While many are calling for justice for the victim, the wife of the Jigawa State Governor says efforts should be put in place to end the cases of gender-based violence bedeviling Nigeria's northern region. In Kano, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, has reaffirmed the UN's commitment to supporting Nigeria to address the myriad of humanitarian crises. Mohammed made this known during a visit to the nation's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction in Abuja. News Central's Edom Joseph has more.
This marks the first meeting of the year between the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, and Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. The visit also serves as an opportunity to know the ministry priority for the year and discuss the UN's continued partnership in tackling humanitarian challenges.
Coming into the country to meet with our country team, one of the closest partners that we have has always been within our humanitarian family, and therefore coming to pay a courtesy call on you at the beginning of the year to really hear what some of your priorities will be for the year. We deeply appreciate the relationship that we've had over the past year.
Mohammed expressed concerns about the impact of climate change affecting vulnerable groups, highlighting the need for increased funding.
Nigeria has many challenges when it comes to humanitarian crisis. Climate is new to the challenges that we face. It needs huge investments in the country so that we can have those transitions that will make us more resilient. They will look at adaptation.
The minister expressed confidence that continuous collaboration with the UN will help address the nation's current humanitarian challenges.
From the discussion we had with Her Excellency this morning, we have opportunity to partner together to ensure that the people on the move, especially people affected due to insurgency and climate change and other conflicts across the country, and even the impact of the economic changes that we're making, the reforms that we're making in the government, we give human face to everybody across the country.
The Deputy Secretary General also outlined several areas where the United Nations intends to support Nigeria.
There has been some work together with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs on what we call durable solutions, and it is that work and the technical assistance in getting ownership and capacity building in the ministry. So through what we have cooperation framework for many sectors, we bring that expertise from the different agencies.
She pledged to strengthen the UN's partnership with Nigeria, which is crucial to addressing the nation's humanitarian needs. In Abuja for News Central, I am Edom Joseph.
In a bid to mitigate the impacts of recent flooding, the Gombe State government has launched an intervention program of the federal government's flood intervention to support small and medium-scale business owners across the state. This initiative seeks to revitalize businesses that were severely impacted by the natural disaster. News Central's Umaru Kirawa throws more light.
A day to smile for these businessmen and women after the flood that devastated their means of survival. Gombe State Governor, while addressing stakeholders at the launch of the flood intervention, said that it is part of deliberate efforts to boost economic recovery.
We need to be our brothers' keepers. And what we did to Borno and Yobe is exactly what NEDC did to us now. And NEDC is doing that because it has been given direction by no other person than the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Tinubu, who has been handling this country despite the tough situation that he found himself.
Stakeholders call for collective effort to proactively tackle flood indicators and hasten recovery process in the northeast Nigeria.
Today's flag-off ceremony signifies our commitment to ensuring that the 1.5 billion support reaches those in need, facilitating the rebuilding of homes, restoration of businesses, and revitalization of our local economy.
Just in December, if I can recall vividly, we have given our local governments people more than 5 interventions from the governments. I want to urge all the beneficiaries, sir, that please, we should be ambassadors of advocating for good governance. Whether you like it, or whether we like it or not, you have to say the truth the way it is.
We have more than 3,000 skills in our associations. So we make sure that this support will support our people, our community and society, and our state in general.
The government called on the beneficiaries of the scheme to utilize the funds judiciously to revitalize their businesses.
With the dams that we have, and if we are able to create more dams so that the water, excess water will now end in the dams, we can utilize the water in irrigating farms, and we'll have more food, and we'll have guarantee and food security. That is what leadership should provide all that, and we are ready for that. So please bear with us.
The disbursement of the 1.5 billion naira has since commenced with the presentation of checks to selected individuals among the 10,000 beneficiaries. In Gombe for News Central, Umar Kirawa.
As part of its campaign against the spread of misinformation and fake news, a public strategy and advocacy organization, also known as Gatefield, has called on the Nigerian government and the National Information Technology Development Agency to hold big tech companies accountable and ensure they make public their content moderation policies. This demand, along with others, was made known in Abuja during a demonstration held at the National Information Technology Development Agency.
We're here as a form of friendly activation to just, demonstrate in front of the NIDA office and share a list of our demands. We have a list of demands, which is number 1, hold big tech accountable and ensure that they publicize their content moderation policies. Number 2, put stricter regulatory frameworks for misinformation on the internet. The third one is to invest heavily in digital literacy campaigns for young people across the country.
Coming up, Sudan Army enters key paramilitary held Al Jazeera state capital. Details shortly. Join us again.
We're here as a form of friendly activation to just, demonstrate in front of the NIDA office and share a list of our demands. We have a list of demands, which is number 1, hold big tech accountable and ensure that they publicize their content moderation policies. Number 2, put stricter regulatory frameworks for misinformation on the internet. The third one is to invest heavily in digital literacy campaigns for young people.
Thank you for staying with us. In the east of Africa, Sudanese residents in Port Sudan have celebrated as the military announced its forces and allied groups have advanced on the RSF-controlled state capital of Wad Madani in Al Jazeera. The army confirmed entering the city on Saturday, marking the end of over a year of paramilitary control. In a statement, the armed forces congratulated citizens on the liberation of Wad Madani. A video shared by the military showed fighters claiming to have entered the city, although independent verification remains difficult due to communications blackouts. The war between Sudan's army and the Rapid Support Forces, ongoing since April 2023, has caused tens of thousands of deaths and displaced over 12 million people, with the UN describing it as the world's worst displacement crisis. The foreign ministers of Egypt, Somalia and Eritrea have emphasized that Red Sea security is a matter exclusive to coastal nations, thereby indirectly excluding landlocked Ethiopia. At a joint press conference in Cairo, Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati delivered a statement alongside his Somali and Eritrean counterpart Hamed Moualem Fiki and Osman Saleh. This development is a recent visit by Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud to Ethiopia at the invitation of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Now, the visit comes in the wake of a Turkey-mediated peace deal last month aimed at easing tensions in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia's aspirations for Red Sea access have heightened regional tensions, particularly after it signed an agreement last year with Somaliland to establish a port and military base. Mahmoud's visit has been described by his office as ushering in a new era of cooperation between Somalia and Ethiopia.
توافقت الآراء بين الوزراء الثلاث حول العمل سويا على دعم بالتأكيد وحدة الصومال وسيادة الصومال ووحدة وسلامة الأراضي الصومالية، وتقديم كل الدعم الممكن من جانب إريتريا ومن جانب مصر لدعم الحكومة الصومالية في بسط سيطرتها ونفوذها على كامل التراب الوطني الصومالي. تحدثنا أيضا عن التعاون المشترك في مجالات التدريب وفي مجالات بناء القدرات حتى يتم تمكين الجيش الصومالي من مكافحة الإرهاب كما ذكرت، وأيضا من بسط سلطة وسيادة الدولة الصومالية ووحدة الدولة الصومالية. الأمن، قضية أمن البحر الأحمر، وهذه مسألة مهمة جدا لأن البحر الأحمر وأمن البحر الأحمر هو مرهون بإرادة الدول المشاطئة فقط للبحر الأحمر، ولا يمكن على الإطلاق القبول بأي تواجد لأي دولة غير مشاطئة للبحر الأحمر، سواء تواجد عسكري أو بحري أو خلافه.
Let's take you to Southern Africa, where 5 critics of Angola's President João Lourenço have been freed after more than a year in detention, including prominent TikToker Ana da Silva Miguel. Miguel, who is also known as Neth Nahara, was known for using TikTok to share advice on living healthy with HIV, making her one of the few Angolans who speak publicly about the issue. However, she was arrested on 13th August 2023 after criticizing Lourenço in a live video. Activists Adolfo Campos, Hermenegildo Victor Jose, Gelson Moreira, and Abrao Pedro Santos were arrested on 16th September 2023 before a planned protest.
Para a melhor leitura da razão do déficit de credibilidade do sistema judicial angolano, basta verificar que desde a injusta detenção dos ativistas, os seus mandatários legais realizaram e cumpriram escrupulosamente com tudo quanto rege nos procedimentos judiciais, mas, lamentavelmente, a interferência política e parcialidade dos magistrados envolvidos.
Estamos aqui, estamos em liberdade. A nossa liberdade não foi por causa do indulto. O indulto é simplesmente um charme político. Mais uma vez foi um charme político por parte do Presidente da República, João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, porque nós já estaremos em liberdade há muito tempo, porque não deveriam lá estar onde a gente esteve.
Primeiro, em poucas palavras, diria que não tivemos um processo digno do seu nome ou justo. Foi tudo uma montagem política para restringir o espaço cívico, para atacar as vozes discordantes.
Still ahead, Los Angeles authorities warn residents to remain indoors as ash and smoke from wildfires blankets area. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. Los Angeles authorities have declared a local health emergency as ash and smoke from wildfires blankets the area, prompting warnings for residents to remain indoors. At least 11 people have been killed and more than 10,000 homes and structures been destroyed in the ongoing fires. The Palisades Fire, which has been raging since Tuesday, has led to expanded evacuation orders as officials struggle to contain the blaze. Meanwhile, California's governor has called for an independent investigation into water shortages at fire hydrants, which have hampered firefighting efforts. A red flag warning remains in effect, with strong winds forecast raising fears of further spread. At least 6 fires are burning, including the Archer fire, which began on Friday and remains uncontrolled. U.S. President Joe Biden says his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin is under significant pressure following sweeping sanctions imposed on Moscow's energy sector by Washington and London. Now, these measures targeting Russia's oil and liquefied natural gas industry are expected to cost the Russian economy billions of dollars each month. Biden stressed the need to deny Putin any breathing room to persist with these aggressive actions. He also expressed optimism about Ukraine's prospects of success, provided it continues to receive robust support from Western nations.
Tough shape right now. And I think it's really important that he not have any breathing room to continue to do the god-awful things he's continuing to do. Well, I had a long talk with Zelensky today. And I think that as long as we continue to keep Western Europe united as it relates to Ukraine, that there is a real chance that the Ukrainians can prevail, because the cost to Russia is incredibly high. The sanctions are imposed today because they will have profound effect on the growth of the Russian economy and make it more difficult for Putin to conduct his wars. It is probable that gas prices could increase as much as 3-4 cents a gallon, but it's going to have a more profound impact on Russia's ability to continue to act in the way it's acting in the conduct of war.
In business, Nigeria's 2025 proposed national budget has drawn criticism from omitting key allocations, including funding for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road and detailed budgets for several MDAs, commissions and councils, such as the National Judicial Council and TECT Fund. This was contained in a statement released by the budget on its X platform on Friday. The civil society organization also said budgets for over 60 government-owned enterprises, including the Nigeria Port Authority, Nigeria Customs Service, and Nimasa Armisen. It also pointed out that President Tinubu's announced retirement benefit for military generals, bulletproof SUVs, foreign medical trips, and hefty ESTA codes contradicts his earlier promises to cut governors' costs, risking inflating the fiscal deficit and may demoralize lower-ranking military personnel who face inadequate retirement benefits and health insurance. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has introduced 2 new accounts for Nigerians living abroad, and it's the Non-Resident Nigerian Ordinary Account, NRNOA, and the Non-Resident Nigerian Investment Account, NRNIA, for Nigerians in the diaspora. The NRNOA facilitates remittances and fund management in foreign and local currencies, while the NRNIA allows investment in Nigerian assets, including diaspora bonds and other debt instruments, aimed at improving diasporans' access to economic opportunities in the country. The account will also simplify fund management and reduce reliance on third parties for local transactions. Eligible Nigerians in the diaspora can open these accounts starting 1st January 2025, subject to KYC requirements. The CBN had previously announced plans to launch a non-resident bank verification number, NRBVN, in December 2024 to streamline KYC processes for diaspora banking. Ethiopia inaugurates the Ethiopian Securities Exchange ESX on Friday, marking a pivotal step in Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's economic liberalization agenda. Now, the exchange launched with Wegagen Bank as its sole listing, but it aims to host 90 companies within a decade. State-owned Ethio Telecom, preparing for an IPO, is expected to join this. Now, this development restores a securities exchange abolished in 1974 under a socialist regime. Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous nation, has experienced rapid growth but faced challenges from internal conflict and skepticism about liberalization commitment. While foreign interests remain tepid, local investors view the ESX as a breakthrough, offering stakeholders equity in Ethiopia's leading firms. In the world of sport, Mamelodi Sundowns staged a thrilling 2-1 comeback win as AS Maniema Union in Kinshasa on Saturday, moving closer to the CAF Champions League quarterfinals. Despite dominating possession, Sundowns trailed 1-0 at halftime after Jeffu Kitambala's first half strike. In the second half, Pisa Shalulile equalized in 83rd minute, and in stoppage time, Ekasio Mwanda's own goal sealed the victory. Sundowns' victory lifted them to 8 points level with Group B leaders as far, while ending Raja Casablanca's hopes. The win boosts Sundowns' chances of advancing in the competition. Italian Serie A club AC Milan has promoted 20-year-old Nigerian descent Bob Murphy Omoregbe, born in Italy, to the first team. The move comes after Milan needed to fill the vacancy left by forward Noah Okafor, who joined Germany Bundesliga side RB Leipzig. Okafor departed Milan after struggling to secure regular playing time following his transfer from Australian club RP Salzburg. Milan's head coach, Sergio Conciao, confirmed Omoregbe's promotion to the first team on Saturday. The young forward has been assigned the jersey number 77 and is expected to make his debut in the upcoming match against Cagliari this weekend. And Trent Alexander-Arnold's stunning strike lifts up Liverpool's 4-0 win over League Two Accrington Stanley to cruise into the FA Cup fourth round on Saturday. Now, the England international, criticized after a 2-2 draw with Manchester United, led by example, scoring a stunning long-range strike to double the lead. Diogo Jota opened the scoring after 30 minutes, tapping in from a Darwin Nunes cross. Jadon Dance added a third, and Federico Chiesa, who has struggled with injuries, netted his first Liverpool goal with a superb long-range effort. Manager Arne Slot made 8 changes to the side following a midweek League Cup defeat, but the Reds cruised to victory against 86th tier Accrington. Madison Keys claimed her second Adelaide International title on Saturday, defeating top seed Jessica Pegula 6-3, 4-6, 6-1 in a thrilling final. The victory marked Keys' 9th WTA title and a major confidence boost ahead of the Australian Open. Now, the world number 20 battled through a knee injury, taking a medical timeout during the second set before Pegula, the US Open finalist, leveled the match. Keys rallied in the decider, securing the win on her first match point. She will now face fellow American Ann Lee in the first run of the Australian Open. In the men's event, Felix Auger-Aliassime also claimed victory, running off a perfect preparation for the season's first Grand Slam. And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Power outage as National Grid has collapsed, restoration underway. National Assembly has criticized border closure policy, said it is ineffective in curbing crimes. And finally, we told you that Sudan Army has entered key paramilitary held Al Jazeera state capital. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Aderuba.